Welcome to Kick Out Reviews, and we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 41. As always, when it comes to WrestleMania weekend, there's always a lot of buzz in the air, and this weekend, never comes short when it comes to WrestleMania. You had the parties that they do at WrestleMania After Dark, Wrestlemania, the Hall of Fame ceremony. Let's talk about that quickly. Shout outs to the natural disasters, Michelle McCool, legacy ring candidates, Ivan Koloff, Kamala, Dory Funk Sr., Triple H being the main inductee, Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin getting their the match, a Hall of Fame, WrestleMania Hall of Fame match. First ever inductee was the classic Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match. I didn't really watch this, but from what I've seen from the clips, it looked like a really nice event. It looks like a very long event. Some people were sleeping in the attendance, but it's Hall of Fame. They like to do the big. They take their time with their inductees, basically. A big announcement before WrestleMania 1 kicked off. WWE now have acquired AAA, the promotion, the Mexican Lucha Libre promotion. It's going to be interesting to see how they work, the dynamics with that, with Lucha Libre wrestling. WWE hasn't really been strong with showcasing luchador talent like WCW once did back in the day. But, you had the likes of Rey Mysterio and a few come up since. And, now you got Pentagon and Rey Fenix getting a bit of a shine. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two promotions are going to be working together and what Triple H has in store for AAA, what his plans are, what WWE plans of for AAA. That's going to be quite interesting. But yes, let's talk about WrestleMania 41. So WrestleMania 41 was held in the Allegiant Stadium, over like 61,000 in attendance for both nights. It's WrestleMania, baby. We get excited for these things, It kicked off with the World Heavyweight title match. I think everybody going into this knew this would be the first match that kicks it off. Jey Uso versus Gunther. Nice little entrance for Jey Uso, the crowd going crazy. He's doing the yeet dance, the hands waving down, the crowd singing along to his theme song, screaming out yeet. You had cheerleaders, you had people waving flags. He came out looking strong. His drip was great. He looked really good, actually. Gunther comes out. No funny games. No games. Just straight business. These two went at it. It was a good match, back and forth. Not a classic that you kind of expect Gunther to have. Jey Uso, he tried his best. It wasn't the straight out fight brawl that I was expecting after the build up with what happened with his brother Jimmy. You would think Jay would want to kind of go out a bit more of a fight feel. It was more like a match, in my opinion. But it was a good match. And Jay picked up the W, become the new World Heavyweight Champion, and he celebrated with Jimmy in the middle of the ring, which was great to see. You can see they both were very emotional about that. So that was great. Next up, you had the New Day versus the War Raiders. This, again, I guess I understand you want to give New Day, one of the most decorated tag teams in the division, to get their shine at WrestleMania, especially with their build-up going into it to turning heel. They had a really intriguing build-up to that when they turned heel. Since then, it's been a little bit lackluster, but them winning the titles could probably get them on the right track to really become, dastardly heels and really push for a new brand tag team title run with the New Day. And hopefully eventually a Biggie return. This match was cool. It was nice. They got good chemistry. Nothing really to sing home about. New Day kind of stole the victory and run up the ring to celebrate. Yeah, it's nothing really to. It was just good to see New Day win the titles, really. Next up, Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, this was a good match. I was really excited for this. Naomi looked great. Jade looked great. Both of these two were going back and forth. Some really good maneuvers. Jade did a reverse power bomb on Naomi into to her finisher. Good match. Great. I would say that when it started getting really, really good, it's when it kind of stopped and ended. So I kind of wish they had a little bit more time to tell this story, but ultimately a good finish. I had Naomi winning going into this, but I guess Jade winning does make sense. But let's see what happens going forth. Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. Now, this was a good match. I really like these two. They had really good chemistry, good entrances for both. Back and forth was really good and crazy. Jacob Fatu's a star, man. The crowd was ready for him to win the United States Championship, and when he hit those two moonsaults and picked up the W, the crowd went absolutely insane. So this was a good match. Big up to Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. They put on a really good showing. El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix. Unfortunately, this was originally booked for Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, but Rey Mysterio picked up an injury on SmackDown, so Rey Fenix had to fill in. This was a good match. You could tell this was kind of like done on the spot because obviously it was like a last minute change. So I don't think these two could have really had the time to work out a great match between the two. So it was a decent showing. Some really good spots. Americano did a really good, I don't know what it was, like a 380 or I don't know what it was. Supposed to be like a 380 flip backwards moonsault onto Rey Fenix, which was really cool to see. And Americano Grande picked up the victory. I would like to see these two go at it again. I really think these two could really put out a classic, and unfortunately we didn't get that at Mania. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Now, Tiffany Stratton had a really cool Barbie doll entrance. That was actually quite cool. Charlotte looked great. Charlotte came out. Her ring attire was incredible. Just remaining that queen-esque of the WWE division, the women's division, being the top queen on the division. But I had a feeling this match wasn't going to go down well, and I was unfortunately correct with that one. I don't think these two had much chemistry. I just don't think they were even allowing each other to kind of really get much moves in. These two had issues going into this match, and you can kind of see that play out within this match. It just didn't really work out for me. Some stiff blows. You could see at the end of the match, Tiffany had some scratches in her face and whatnot. Tiffany got the W. She picked up the victory, but unfortunately, this match didn't really pull me. I wasn't really a fan of this match, unfortunately. Let's talk about the main event of night one. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. Now, this was incredible. This is one of the best triple threats matches I've ever seen in my life. These three went at it. They had a point to prove. And they delivered, man. This was a fantastic match. Great to see Seth Rollins with his entrance was dope, coming out with with a black coat, long gown, with shades and a flamethrower flaming up the place, and then the lights went out, and then he had a white suit on with shit. Seth looked sick. Came out looking like a boss. Roman Reigns, made his grandiose entrance as he does, and CM Punk come up with in living color. Playing Cult of Personality live. That was great to see CM Punk come up with Paul Heyman, and he's singing along to the song, and Paul Heyman giving him a kiss on his forehead, and it's checking the watch, and it's clubbering time, and just doing that old school CM Punk Paul Heyman entrance that I wanted to see, which was great. The match was amazing. All three went at it, loads of finishes and near falls, and it's back and forth, and just a great match. Like, honestly, one of the greatest triple threat matches I think I've ever seen. Until a second triple threat match on the WrestleMania card, kind of, in my opinion, surpassed it. But we'll get into that. Great finish. Paul Heyman picks up the chair. Can't decide who's going to give the chair to between Reigns and Punk. Gives it to Punk. Reigns is shocked. Gets into the ring. Low blows Punk. Turns on Punk. Reigns is happy, smiling. I got my wise men back. Heyman's like, of course it's gonna be you, my tribal chief, and gives Reigns the chair. Reigns hits Punk a few times with the chair, and then while Seth's in a position where he's like leaning on the ropes, back towards Reigns, Heyman's like, this is the perfect spot. Get that chair shot and hit Seth Rollins in the back like he did to you all those years ago, turning on the Shield. Get your revenge. As Reigns was about to do it, Heyman hits him with the low blow and it grinds it in his testicles. I can't believe that. It betrays Roman Reigns, man. Heyman made the switch, give the chair to Seth Rollins. Seth played it so cool, standing there with his hand out, knew exactly what was going to happen. Seth capitalizes, gets the W, beats Reigns, beats Punk, and now Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins are a united front, the new advocate for Seth Rollins. Hopefully the architect is back, I'm hoping. Some sort of new version of the architect. It'll be like maybe a mixture of what we've seen with recent Seth and old school Seth. That would be great to see. I would love that. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with Seth Rollins going forward. But that was a great ending for night one. Let's talk about night two. Now, night two. What a way to kick off night two. Like the triple threat match for the women's world heavyweight title. This is arguably the best match of both nights. One of the best matches I've ever seen in the women's division. One of the best matches in wrestling history. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. These three women absolutely smashed it. I can't, they love to give the 5-star rankings of wrestling matches. This is a full-fledged 5-star match. Every woman that went in played their part well. Great just great entertainment wrestling. Just great wrestling in general. It's like Io Sky was sick. Bianca looks great. Rhea was great. This match was amazing. Some great spots in this match, and that finish when Rhea had Io in the top turnbuckle. Bianca takes out Rhea with her EST finisher, and Io hits the moonsault 1, 2, 3. I can't say much better, man. It was a great way to kick off night two, and all women should be proud. What a great match that was, and a great moment for Io Sky to retain that title, which I knew that was going to happen. Drew McIntyre had a point to prove. He wasn't in the main event, but had a great match with Damian Priest nonetheless, and he looked like a badass, put him through tables, put him through the steel steps, Claymore kick onto the steel chair. Drew decimated Damian Priest in this match, and it was a great match to show. It was a really good match. Dominic Mysterio becomes the new IC title, defeating Braun Breaker, Pentagon Jr., and Finn Balor. This was another great match, fatal 4-way match. Start to finish, very entertaining. High spots, high speed intensity. Similar finish to the women's match, I would say, which kind of takes it away from me a little bit. But what a frog splash Dominic hit on Finn to get the 1, 2, 3, and your new IC champion. And Dominic is finally getting cheered from the crowd. All this time he gets booed out the building. The crowd went crazy, and they wanted to see Dom win the IC. I was one of them. I wanted Dom to win it too, so that was great to see. Unfortunately for Randy Orton, Kevin Owens picked up an injury which requires him to have surgery on his neck, so he wasn't been able to face Randy Orton at Mania, so they didn't know what to do with Randy Orton. He was a bit of a limbo with his opponent. Comes out, picks up the mic and says, hey man, who wants a moment to feel the 3 dangerous letters in the wrestling history, the RKO, and then say his name and he appears, Joe Hendry. Crowd went big pop for Joe Hendry actually. The crowd went crazy, singing along to his theme song. He comes down, accepts the challenge for Randy Orton. 3-minute match, nothing really to sing home about. Got a little bit of offense off, and Orton mostly dominated. But when Joe Hendry was getting the best of Orton and he went to do his pose, got hit with the RKO, 1, 2, 3. Then Orton picks him up, tells him to celebrate. Here's your moment, kid. You've made it to WrestleMania. Gives him another RKO, and then copies the Joe Hendry pose. So a little bit of berry for the TNA champion, but yes. It's WWE, isn't it? Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. Unfortunately, this match didn't slap for me. This I was hoping this would be I don't know, man. I'm hoping that these two would have chemistry and really tear the house down, but that wasn't meant to be a match. That was a bit lackluster. I don't think the fans were really into it as much, and it was not a bad match, just wasn't great. And maybe that's our fault. Maybe I shouldn't put too much expectations on AJ Styles anymore and let him do his thing. But yeah, this wasn't really it for me. Logan Paul picked up the victory because Karrion Kross interfered and AJ Styles got distracted, knocking out Karrion Kross, and then Logan Paul hits AJ Styles with a finish or hit him with the brass knocks. I can't remember. Maybe it was the brass knocks. I picked up the 1, 2, 3. Another thing that kind of annoyed me at Mania was Lara Valkyria versus, Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They announced that Bayley got taken out by somebody. Who now is taking out Bayley? I don't know. And then Becky Lynch is back and replaces Bayley, and Becky Lynch and Lara Valkyria, 2 Irish women, of course. As soon as Becky joined with Lara, you just knew she was going to win the titles. Good match, not a bad match. Shouts to Liv Morgan, always doing brilliant work. And, shouts to every woman in the ring. It was a good match, but not anything to, rave about. But, yeah, you knew women's tag team champions, Lara Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Now let's talk about it, man. The main event. John Cena. This is last WrestleMania match ever versus Cody Rhodes. Surely this would be a classic, right? Great entrance from John Cena. I love the fact that it was just black and white, not the colourful colours that you see with John Cena, really. Just still the same ring gear, but just toned down. He comes down. Cody Rhodes makes a great entrance with some sort of Iron Man version helmet mask of his nightmare mask that he wears. Anticipation through the roof. Crowd was so into this. But how did the match go down? I felt there were some great moments in this match. I felt, unfortunately, I think Cena was booked a bit too strong in this match. He dominated Cody quite a bit. Cody started getting back and started getting to the swing of things and started, fighting back and looking like it was looking good for Cody. And then when Cody was getting the upper hand, then Travis Scott shows up and helps out Cena. And Cody hits Travis Scott with the crossroads and it's looking really good for Cody. He's got the upper hand here. Cena has the World Heavyweight title. It looks like he's about to hit Cody with it. Cody ducks. They fight over the title. They're grabbing back and forth. Cody gets the title. He's about to hit Cena with it. Cena begs, please, please don't. Cody's contemplating and he's like, oh, why? And he says, I'm not going to do it. And then he gets kicked in the balls. Cena hits him with the title. 1, 2, 3. 17-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Cena is now seen as the GOAT in WWE wrestling, which was the right decision with that massive heel turn that happened in the Elimination Chamber. You had to put the title on Cena, but I just feel the match was a bit lackluster, and even the ending was a bit lackluster. I think a lot of fans were a bit disappointed with it. We didn't get to see The Rock. The Rock didn't show up at all, which is cool. You want to probably give Cena a bit more of his flowers on his own, but then again, why would he want to join? Why does he need Rock then? I don't know. It's just a bit weird. But Cena is your new champ. Could have been a better finish. I feel that match in total could have been better, but overall, a good WrestleMania. Not a great WrestleMania, but a good one. So out of 5, I'm going to give it a 3. I'll give it a strong 3. 3 out of 5 rating. Certain things could have been ironed out a bit better, could have been delivered a bit better, that could have pushed it to a 4 or a 5. But I'm not mad at it completely. I'm looking forward to see what happens on Raw and what happens for the rest of the year, especially with Cena's last run with the company as the WWE champion. Let's see. I did one thing I want to say about Cena. Big him up for being a complete heel in the match. He didn't give us he gave us a little glimpse of some of the stuff he usually does, but most of it was just axe handles and just boring wrestling moves. And he says that his plan is to ruin wrestling. So I'm kind of enjoying it. And even in the press conference after the pay-per-view, people were asking him questions and he kept saying the same answer. That's a clickbait question. You need to do your job better. Next question. And then they just said the same answer to every question and then said, you guys need to be better. I'm the WWE champion. No one's better than me. Step your game up, and left. So it's interesting to see what happens next. But a good WrestleMania overall. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5 for sure. I hope you enjoyed that. That's my WrestleMania roundup. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Support us at The Kickout.